Explore your thoughts. Learn what you think you already know. We're taking you on a journey to the other side. Welcome everyone again to another edition of The Other Side. As promised, this is a continuation of our interviews in an attempt to interview all of our candidates running for office here in Louisiana. We just finished with District 2. I hope you enjoyed that. So right now we're going to start with District 1, which is my guest today is Mr. Bradley Armand. He's seeking the position running against Darrell Wiley. So, Mr. Bradley, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Bradley? Introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, I'm 38 years old. I live in Fifth Ward down River Road. I've been living there for 6 years. Before that, I lived in Effie. So I've been in the District 1 in this district for about 8, 9 years altogether. Born and raised from Falls Parish. I'm from Bunkie, Louisiana. I work in construction, been doing it since I was 18. I've also always worked part-time for different police departments since I was about 19, 20 years old. Currently, I work for part-time for Moorville Police Department. At the moment, I'm working for myself. I have my own construction company. Small right now. I basically come in and consult for bigger construction companies. I say bigger construction companies, smaller ones that want to grow. So I come in and help train their employees to be able to do new fields of work. I use my network and find new opportunities for them and help them grow in new divisions, and help on the financial side with the company, and so they can be able to afford better people and better equipment to get jobs done. I also help estimate and bid for projects for them. And also, for a few years, I was on the board of directors for the Fox Theater in Marksville, so I helped with the financials on that. That's basically it, just trying to bring some better things to our parish and to the District 1.
So, Bradley, it's safe to say that you are a small business owner,
Yes,
right?
sir.
A small business owner here locally in the parish. Do you feel like your experience in your occupation, and you mentioned finances and just running the business in general, you feel like you have something to bring to the table to help our parish police jury?
Yes, sir. I started out 18 years ago as a labor hand in a construction company. I've worked for multi-million-dollar companies and projects, building heavy highway bridges and infrastructures, drainage. So I know every aspect of how to build a road, how to do drainage and bridges. I know how to do it properly and bring in new ideas and new ways to save money to perform it also. It's a tight market in the construction field nowadays. So, as a construction company, that's what you have to do is when you're bidding on these projects, is you have to be able to look at these projects and find ways that you can do things a little differently to be able to save money and be able to be a lower bidder so you can win the work. So it's
You have
all
to
up.
cross your T's and dot your
Exactly.
I's on all of your bids.
Exactly. Especially in the Sinlaw area, there's so many great contractors here, and everybody's fighting tooth and nail to get the work close to home. So it's always coming up with new innovative ideas to be able to get work done and for a lower price, but still keep your good road and good bridges.
Very well said. So, Bradley, why are you running?
I've been on the fence for the last 2 terms, and I'm finally just at the point where I feel we need a change in the parish. I don't feel the people that's been in there are doing anything to benefit anybody in the parish. I've been living in on my house currently for 6 years now. The police jury has not one time come down River Road in the 6 years I've been living there to do any kind of drainage work. I don't see them anywhere, honestly, doing any kind of drainage work or digging out ditches and cleaning out. I feel we have a major issue with drainage, which causes your roads to fail. You know, most issues with the roadways are issues with drainage. When you have drainage ditches that aren't draining properly, it holds water in them, which they're not meant to do. And you get moisture underneath the roads, which causes them to break and fall apart. So it's starting with drainage to be able to get our roads to where they need to be. Because you can fix a road all day long, but if you're not fixing the drainage and the issues with that, the new road you build it's going to fall apart.
That's a good point you make. Um, I'm very familiar with the road you live on. Like I said, I grew up in Fifth Ward and everything, and it is a very bad road. There's lots of
Yes.
potholes. It's a horrible road, and I can't remember when it was. One of the ice storms we had recently, I don't know, 3 years ago, might have been 2 years ago, but there's an issue. We got a lot of rain,
Yes.
and it wasn't just your road. There were some other ones, but basically, like you said, the water that was in the potholes, we got that hard freeze that
Yeah.
night, and it just really dilapidated. It just busted roads up. Not
Yes.
just yours, several places.
Yeah. Roads around the whole parish, or that happened too. Yeah, River Road. I live on the gravel section, but the asphalt section, nobody even wants to pass down it because
Right.
it's
Yeah, you live before, if you're going from the way you explained earlier from 1195, that's just before the curve. When you get past the curve, it's not gravel anymore. It turns into the asphalt.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, like once it turns into gravel, I'm like the third house on the right next to Happy Trail Lane.
Right. So what made you? Why are you choosing now to run? What you said you've been kind of thinking about it, but what triggered you? Was there one event or something? Was it the taxes, the home rule charter, or is it just something in general with what you see throughout the parish?
I'd say it was several things. It was like mainly the financials. How they're dealing with the financials and the money, especially the money we got from the COVID, and like I said, the roadways. There's so many grants out there for drainage and roadway programs. I deal with them all the time. I deal with getting grants and doing this work for these parishes, counties, and state and federal jobs. So there's so much federal money out there that we can get that we're not going after. That's getting wasted. That we could be able to get to fix these roads and drainage, and I'd say yeah, mainly the financial, and then like I said, the homestead. I feel that was very much mistreated and a lot of wasted money going to a lawyer fighting it. I feel the people of Vols Parish should be able to vote on it. Not saying we're going to go for it or not, but we should have the opportunity. A lot of people fought and died for our country for us to have the right to vote. And this is something I take very serious, is us being able to have the right to vote on things and not the transparency. I feel like there's a big issue with transparency from the parish. It just seems like they hide a lot of things. Like on their meetings, I don't understand why none of the police jury meetings are being recorded. It's so simple nowadays with Facebook Live and YouTube and anything else. Um, so I think that's an issue, just transparency.
Right. We have on both sides. So we had Kirby on. That was the last video that was released, and he was talking about the home rule charter. So I asked him, I guess kind of why the police jury was fighting it. Like you said, if we just put it on a ballot, and he wouldn't give a dollar amount on what because the lawyer that they hired is $175 an hour. So actually, if he had a total amount, he couldn't produce the figures for that. But and he claims that the lawyer fees would be cheaper than the ballot fees. He says it costs like $20,000 to put it on the ballot, um, even during a major election, which this would be a major election. But again, we always get both sides, so we're gonna interview more people.
Yeah.
What we want to do here is get to the bottom of everything, figures, dollars, and everything, and that's part of why we're having you on and everyone else on, and your competitor and everything else.
Yeah.
Which brings me to your competitor, Daryl Wiley. Do Let me ask it like this: do you personally know Daryl Wiley?
Not personally, no.
Is it, or you running against him, or are you running just as a way to be a part of the process of moving the parish further? You know what I mean? Is it a personal thing, or is it just you feel that if you were in office, maybe you could do a bit better job and throughout the parish?
Yeah, it's nothing personal at all. I don't really know him in that way, and he really wasn't. I think he was only in it for 2 years when he got into it. I don't feel he's really done anything since he's been in it, but I just feel with my knowledge and my experience in the construction field and as owning a small business and helping manage other companies and businesses with financials, that I can bring a lot to the table and finding new innovative ways to maybe save money or get things done, build roads that we need, and save money while also doing it.
Right. So, Bradley, what are your thoughts on term limits?
I'm absolutely for it. I say 2 or 3 time term, I think should be the max. If you can't do it in that amount of time, then it's probably not going to get done. I feel people get very complacent when they get into a position and it starts not being about the people and more about what they can do for themselves.
Right. And the two sides of the argument about term limits. So, one side says, term limits to keep the complacency and everything from happening. The other side says, well, if you're not doing a good job, you'll get voted out. But there's also in the complacency is sort of a name recognition. And here in a Vols Parish, you don't. Before this, we've never had programs like this to interview everyone. So a lot of people, I grew up with people complaining about the police jury and whatever. Then, and I do believe that when you get in office, it will be more difficult. We all want to make changes and whatever, but I think there still will be some forks in the road. All you can do, try your best, and maybe it can be better than what it is now,
Yeah.
and maybe there's more forks in the road. But I think the information getting out, if there's a way where people can know their candidate, and that would be the argument for term limits. So if we had good interviews and interviewing everyone, and then the constituents know, okay, well my guy did this, did that. Oh yeah, well then we could vote him out. So I guess it'd be the argument, you know, without term limits,
Yeah.
but in an area where there's not a whole lot of information exchanged and people don't really know what's going on, you have a name recognition. So without term limits, I guess people, could stay in, a lot longer if people don't know what they're doing to check them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So I guess term limits would be the safety cap if someone is doing a bad job, that and the constituents just kind of don't realize because we don't have a TV station here, we don't have anything. I guess term limits would be like that cutoff line. Okay,
Yeah.
next,
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I think, what's happens a lot is the same thing, like you said, is name recognition. A lot of people, if somebody new runs, like, well, I don't really know him. I know this guy's been in office. I'm just gonna kind of vote for him. So I absolutely agree in that. I think it's the bit more you can get out more people's information. I think it'd be better for the citizens of Vols Parish to be able to vote on who they want.
right. So, what are your thoughts on the current parish conditions overall? If you can give it a grade, A through F, from roads, drainage, whatever. What would your grade be?
I'd say a D. Um, like I said, our drainage. I never see the police jury digging out or cleaning out ditches ever. Not saying they don't do it, but I never see it getting done. They have the equipment, they have the trucks, they have the people to be able to do it, and it's just about taking the time and doing one road at a time and going down and make sure you're cleaning out your ditches, make sure the culverts are clean. It's just I think a simple task that doesn't cost a lot. Now, yeah, if you got to do major where you got to come and do major digging, major haul off, that's a different story. But a lot of these ditches just really need a little bit of touch up work to come in and get them where they need to be. And there's a lot of broken drainages that need to be fixed, and a lot of that the police jury can do themselves. They have the equipment to be able to do it.
So you being a small business owner, you do travel about the parish, so you do see a lot of things. You're not talking about
Yes.
just your road that you live on. You see I guess problems throughout the parish and everything as
Yeah, all
well,
over.
right?
My mom still lives in Bunkie, so I do a lot of traveling there. And like I said, I work for the Moreville Police Department part time, so I do traveling there. So yeah, I see the roads all over the parish, the condition and the drainage and the ditches stopped up.
So we kind of touched on it earlier, but I guess to make it a little bit more specific, you coming into this news like one of my guests that I had on before. He says, nobody gives you a manual. They don't give you a handbook to get into office. So we can promise a lot of things.
Yes.
We can say, yeah, I'm going to fix all the roads. I'm going to do this and do that. There's definitely a financial thing. I'm not saying raise taxes. I'm not a big raise a tax kind
No.
of guy. I do understand we live in a low populated kind of area, so we just kind of got to live by the sword, die by the sword without taxing ourselves to death. But what ideas? Of course, you want to fix the roads and the drainage. Do you have any specific ideas of like to use your influence of what you know? Is there any kind of ideas that you have that you think you could offer to the parish to make it a little bit more efficient?
Yeah, like I said, I have a big network of people I know from doing the construction field for so many years. I've worked with engineering. I'm also uh, DOTD certified in asphalt, embankment and base course, structural concrete,
It seemed like
and
that'd be beneficial going into the police jury
yeah,
to
and
have the knowledge of that. Like if I sign up for the police jury, I don't know anything about any of that. So it does sound like that is a good field
yeah.
of knowledge to
Yeah,
have
I've worked
when
as a
entering.
quality control manager, so like I said, I have all them certifications with DOTD. I know surveying. I've pretty much did it all in my years to come in the construction field. So I have a wide variety of ideas, and like I said, I come into these small companies, and we got to figure out ways to be able to grow and go after these bigger projects and these bigger things with not a whole lot of money. So you got to come up with new innovative ways to be able to get this work and be able to do it at a feasible amount also. Like I said, there's so many grants out there that we could be going after, these watershed grants. There's millions and millions of dollars in there that we can go after a good bit of that. There's millions of dollars in grants for to be able to build our roads that, naturally we got to put up, 25%, but that keeps us from having to come up with 100%,
Right.
so we can do more roads with it. So I don't feel like we're going after enough grants that's out there. And another issue I've seen while working for the police department, I go and we get called out for a lot of medical calls. So there's a very long wait time on ambulance services, and we have a contract with Acadian Ambulance, and not saying they do a bad job, but I feel that, and this is something I can't guarantee nothing or anything until I can get in there and see what the contract is and see what we can do. But I feel we need a contract with more than just one ambulance service, because there's been plenty times I've been on a medical call, a serious medical call. Acadian Ambulance is 45 minutes away. Med Express is 10 minutes down the road, and Acadian Ambulance will not give it to them because they don't want to lose out on the
Just from
money.
not having a contract, they can't.
Well, they can. Acadian Ambulance has the option to roll it over to Med Express, but if Acadiana knows there's money in it, they're not going to roll it over to Med Express. They want it.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel if we can get a contract with Med Express or figure out a contract with another service, it can bring it up. There's been several instances where very critical incidents and accidents, and there's just a long wait time. And not saying it's always long, but it happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it happens if they leaving one job on one side of the parish because I don't think there's how many ambulances are on duty like at one time in the parish. It's not you don't have like 20 ambulances. There's only a
Talking to
couple
somebody that
of
worked in
them.
the ambulance, I think there's 4 ambulances dedicated to
Oh,
the
there's that
parish,
many?
but 2 of them are critical care, so they're not always in the parish.
Right.
So you probably have, for Acadian Ambulance, you probably have 2 ambulances in the parish.
Right.
But if the incident's in Moorville and the ambulance is in Bunkie,
You're gonna have a lag
that's a
time.
lag time. And when
Right.
you have a bad accident, that's life or death. And I've personally seen it on incidents to where Med Express was literally right down the road, and Acadiana Ambulance would not roll it over to them. and the people had to wait 45 minutes for the ambulance to get there.
Right.
So I think we need the competitive too. I think Acadiana Ambulance is very relaxed here. They know they have a contract. I think they can have faster response times. I think they can do a better job of what they do. I know they have the ability. And I think also getting somebody in will get competitive prices because the ambulance service is very expensive. So I think if we can get somebody else in here, you can bring competitive prices also on their services.
Yeah, for sure. Is that and I'm asking because I don't know. I'm ignorant on this topic here. Is that that contract does go through the police jury? That's how that's
Yes, it's through the
managed.
police jury.
You see, that's what I love about these podcasts, interviewing everyone. I continue to learn new things that I can broaden my knowledge and give on to the viewers.
Yeah.
That's a topic that has not been discussed yet. And I'm assuming as these interviews continue, there'll be even more things that we'll learn about it.
Yeah.
So Bradley, very good points. We mentioned it earlier about the home rule charter. If you can just kind of give us your take on that, we have talked about it on the other podcast. So if y'all haven't, we're not going to go into the details in it. You can go watch my first couple of podcasts, starting with Clint and Travis. We from District 2. We explain the details of the home rule charter, what's going on, the petition and stuff. Then Kirby gave his side. So we're not going to give the details about it. We'll skip that part. But so overall, your thought about that direction, going that way, and the police jury fighting it, spending a bunch of money against it. What's your overall take on that?
I like I said, I don't understand why they're fighting it. And not saying I'm gonna be for it because no verbiage has
Yeah, it hadn't been written
been
yet.
written up on it. But I think anybody should have the right to be able to vote on it. There is parishes in the state of Louisiana that go for it and successfully. Uh, they're very successful with it. Like I said, I do work all over Louisiana, so I've worked in some of them parishes and dealt with those commissions, and it seems like it runs smooth. Not saying they're all the same; they're all different, but I think we should have had the opportunity to see what it could be. I don't think that right should be taken from us. Not saying we would vote for yes or no, but you're taking a right away from us to be able to have an opinion on it.
Right. What the whole petition was all about was just to be able to bring it to a ballot,
Yeah,
and so this doesn't change any form of government. We can vote it down,
yeah,
and then when it moves to the next process, we can vote it down. Then, you know, 3 election or 4 elections later, the people can still vote it down then and still end up with what we have, the police jury. It's it was just a way the letting the voters decide if they wanted to go that direction and leave behind the police jury. And the police jury is fighting it tooth and nail. Kirby says the the main thing, he says, cross your T's, dot your I's. The petitions were supposed to have ward and precincts on it, and it was only the signature and witness. So because of that, now the clerk of court signed it, which certified it, but the police jury still didn't move forward with it. They hired lawyers and everything, so they filed a lawsuit against the police jury. They won. So the police jury filed an appeal, went to the Third Circuit. This is how Kirby described it to me on the last podcast. So it went to the Third Circuit. The police jury won. The other side appealed it. It went to the Supreme Court of the state of Louisiana. The police jury won again. They appealed it again. And at that point, I don't understand what happened. He says that he kicked it back out into the Third Circuit. I thought once it went to the Supreme Court that it's nothing is more supreme than the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that was my
But we're gonna have
understanding
some interviews coming up to kind of explain that a little bit better for the viewers and stuff. So this was just a little segue to some interviews coming up. We're gonna keep y'all up to date. We're gonna interview all the parties involved, keep an update on what's going on with this home rule charter and the petitions and everything else. So, Bradley, a couple of more questions. You're a busy man. You're a small business owner, and when I tried to reach out to you, you seem pretty easy to get a hold of, especially a strange number being called and everything else. You're gonna have a lot of strange numbers calling you if you are elected, or you're gonna have an open door policy, or you're gonna have time to be able to discuss issues that people are gonna be have. Your phone will be, your life will be changed if you're elected.
Yeah,
You're
and
gonna
yeah, absolutely. It will be open. I kind of deal with that now in the position I am. I get constant phone calls from engineers and other construction companies that we do work with. So, I mean, I have engineers call me at 8, 9 o'clock at night. So, it's nothing new to me to receive a lot of phone calls. I'm used to it. I've managed 15 or more projects at one time, and many people underneath me, and dealing with a lot of different engineer firms and GCs and owners. So that's no burden to me. I'm used to it.
All right, one more question for you, especially you being the first of the interviews. Can you explain your district, the boundaries? And I'll get my producer to go ahead and pull it up while you explain.
And that's a good question because it actually just changed. And I've been knocking on doors, and some of the people were like, "Well, I'm not in your district," and I had to
Right.
inform them that now they are.
Hmm.
Um, so it basically starts.
So right quick before you start, so for the viewers, if you're looking at everything where the mouse is, you see Police Jury District 1, and she'll kind of try to keep up with what he's saying and kind of point it out, but you can see. Go ahead, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, it kind of starts around 114 basically, and Highway 1, and it goes down 114, and then it follows the railroad track, and then cuts.
It's down there. That's the
Yeah,
railroad track right there.
yeah, and then cuts back up into Fifth Ward and follows along. Was it
1194, the right
1194
side,
on the right side?
going south,
Yeah,
going
and
down.
then it ties back into Highway 1. And basically, if you're driving south on Highway 1, it's everything on the left side of Highway 1, which is Egg Bend, River Road, 1195, and it basically follows Highway 1 up to Hickory Hill Road.
Hmm.
It comes down Hickory Hill Road on the left side if you're going towards Effie. And then it comes out and meets Highway 107 and follows 107 and goes across the river, and it's all a Effie Center Point area.
Yeah, so once you cross over the river,
It's all
it,
of
it looks
Evolve
like it's
Parish.
everything that's left of Avoyles, the entire rest that's north of the Red River, that's District 1. And it goes down, like you said, 453, which is where we're at now.
Yeah.
The opposite side of the road of where we're
Opposite side of the road,
sitting
yeah.
is District 1. Right now we're in District 5. Okay.
And which that's why a lot of people down 1195, which live right down the road from me, uh, I kind of had to inform them they didn't know it changed because the way it used to be was one side 1195 was District 2, and then the other side was District 1, but now all of that is District 1.
Right. I was just talking with a friend of mine last night at a supper. He swore that he was in District 1, that Darrell Wiley was his police jury member. He said, I'm positive. He said, I'm 99%. Well, we went on the map that we just had pulled up on screen from the assessor's office, and he was in District, I think, 3, Mark Borrell. He says, there's no way. I said, okay, well, let's second guess it. So I signed him up into the Go Vote
Mm-hmm.
app, and sure enough, he's in District 3. So that's a very handy tool. My point of bringing that up is if you're unfamiliar with where you're at, that's what we do here, just try to get everyone engaged. Go to the assessor's website. I just found this out again doing these interviews.
Yeah.
That it's very handy tools. You go to the assessor's website, click on the maps, and then go to transparency, and then they have a list of different districts and stuff. You have a police jury, and it seems to be very accurate. There is one discrepancy I found. I was like a kid in a candy store playing with all these tools. So I went to the school board district, and my school board was wrong. I actually talked to the assessor's office today. They sent me to the register of voters. I spoke to Adam Barlong, and he said, you must be in Ward 2, Precinct 2B. I said, yeah, actually I am. He said, that's the only problem that they've found in the whole entire thing. So right here where you're sitting there's a problem. It shows that we're School Board District 9. We were really in School Board District 1. But anyways, they were aware of it. So my point is, other than that one little glitch, which is only a few neighbors of mine that live right here, coincidentally it's in mine, everything else seems to be excessively accurate. So if you go, like I said, go to the police jury, it will show you your boundaries, who's your police jury juror, and like you said, because they changed them
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, just very
So I would
recently.
advise everybody to do that, and also go to the Go Vote. You can download the Go Vote app. It's pretty easy to register because we're in so many different districts and precincts, and you're like, I think I'm in 15 or 16 from Senate,
Yeah, it's a lot.
representative, state, Congress, and it adds up. You don't know what you're voting on, but anyway. So look, on your final thoughts. So you speaking to the people right now, to your voters. Why should they vote for you? Tell them why. Tell them why they should vote for you.
I'm gonna be the speaker for them. I want to be able to fight for them for their voice and get their opinions out there and just do whatever I can. I have kids. My kids are 15, 13, and 6, and I want our parish and our district to be great for them. I want them to have a great place to grow up like I did. I want them to have something and have a place they can love and be proudful of. I also think we need more things for the youth in our area. We don't have many things here. You see a lot of crime rate in the youth is because there's nothing for them to do. So naturally, for their free time, they get themselves in trouble. I know a while back they had mentioned building a sports complex here. I don't know whatever happened to that. I never heard anything else about it.
I think it's still on the way. Kirby had mentioned it the other night, and someone else had mentioned it, but I think it is still in the makings. I'm not real sure of the specifics of it, but I know he did mention it the other day. So
I know they were having issues. They wanted somebody to donate
yeah,
land,
there's
which
all that.
which I understand. It'd be nice if somebody would donate land, but in this time of era, not many people can just give land away like that. So I mean, if I think if the police jury needs to not say fool out buy the land, but if they need to put some money towards it, I think we need to do that for our youth. I've talked to a lot of people knocking on doors, and they want that. They're too scared to come for their kids to play baseball or t-ball in Marksville because of the incident that happened a while back with the shooting. So I believe they've been playing in Effie instead of Marksville.
Oh wow.
So there's a lot of people that we need something like this for our youth. We need something to bring people here. All these like Alexandria have these beautiful sports complexes, and a lot of that was federal grant money that paid for that. So like I said, I don't see why we can't get that here. And so yeah, I want to bring more things in, more businesses here. Like I said, instead of raising our taxes, which we're taxed to death on everything,
Right.
if you can get more businesses, make it more appealable for businesses to come here, that's more tax money from businesses to bring them here in our parish. That can be for roadways. So I'm definitely for making it more appeasable to them. Make it easier on maybe taxes or permits or something for them to where they want to come here and can bring their revenue into here, so we can have money to be able to fix roads and bring new places here and bring more people here.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bradley Armand, he's running for Police Jury District 1. I do have one final question. What is your number on the ballot?
I believe it's 58, but I'm not sure. My paper's at home. I got it in,
It
and
may be District 2's was 59, 60, and 61. So you may be 58 being
I'm
a
pretty
District
sure it's
1.
58.
Okay. If not 58, it'd probably be one lower than that. But
Yeah,
it's probably, if you're saying 58, it's probably 58. But
yeah.
that's fine. Either way, number or no number, you can look for Bradley Armand on the ballot. We want to thank you for coming out, Bradley, joining the
I
program.
appreciate it.
Again, like we always say, we think it's very important. We're going to try to get everyone out here. We have a lot more guests coming on. We'll be interviewing Daryl Wiley next, which is the incumbent in this district. And once both of these are finished, interviewed, and edited, we will release them one at a time so that you can decide on who is your candidate. I want to thank you again for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is another edition of The Other Side.